rainfall this morning. You're going to get some type of thunderstorm, whether it be thanks to the line of storms or a few of these storms that are forming ahead of that line. That is to be determined, but this is a very important detail. If you do get a storm ahead of that line, this is where we've got that tornado threat, and this is where we really do need to be watching for that potential for a couple tornadoes. But as of right now, that environment seems to be over here in southwestern Arkansas, where we've got that tornado warning and we've got that strong signature that is now beginning to push in towards Columbia County. Now, along this line, the main threat is going to be strong winds, maybe some damaging winds here and there. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few severe thunderstorm warnings. Is the tornado threat there with that line? Can never say zero. You can always get a very quick area of rotation within that line. That is something that we're watching for, but all of this yellow that you're seeing is where we've got that tornado watch. So as that line again begins to push in towards central Arkansas, we've got you covered. We're watching it very closely. And Jenna, just that one storm though down there in southwestern parts of the state is now beginning to cross into the Columbia County area. I'm just going to quickly check and see if I see any type of debris on our debris detector. I don't see that at this time. We're also looking at a pretty long ways from the radar. I think we're about 60 to 65 miles away from the Shreveport radar. So not going to be able to see that debris that far away unless it's being thrown into the atmosphere very high. So that's not to say that we don't have a tornado on the ground. It's still now radar indicated. And looking at the signature, we are looking a little bit more into the updraft and inflow of this storm, but there is definitely some rotation there, Jenna, and I'll get a track on it here in just a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely something to watch if you're in southwest Arkansas in Nevada County. Moving out of northern Lafayette County, it does look like they just dropped that warning, but part of it's still clipping into parts of northern Nevada and northwest Columbia counties, or northern Lafayette, I should say, into Nevada County. With that in mind, those in that red polygon, stay in your tornado safe place until the threat passes. I want to give you a statewide view again. I know Christopher just went over this, but a lot of us waking up this morning due to rumbles of thunder. You hear rain outside your window. You're thinking, oh, the Arkansas Storm Team told me that today we have a threat for severe weather overnight. That's the right thinking. You're on top of it. The positive side is a lot of this is so messy. So the cap broke all at once, and we saw all of these storms go up at the same time, so they're kind of choking each other out. It's a messy, chaotic environment, and any storm that is able to, really in southwest Arkansas where we're seeing the storms able to form discreetly and have that tornadic signature, we're watching for that supercellular development, which is what those two storms down in southwest, south central Arkansas now are categorized as. That's what we're watching. These messy things that we are watching still pose a threat, but mostly a threat for flooding and flash flooding, like that flash flood warning in place for parts of Logan into Scott counties until 7:45. Definitely be very cautious of flooding on top of the severe threat. Lots of things to be aware of this morning. And I will say, so again, on the back side of this line from Fort Smith up to Harrison, on the back side of it, so parts of Madison County, parts of Washington County, Benton County, parts of Carroll County, parts of Crawford County, fully out of the risk of severe weather, but that flooding risk remains, and we have multiple flash flood warnings in place in parts of Missouri as well as parts of Texas as this line is just moseying through. So overall, if you're waking up because you hear thunder out there, let's say that you're in Faulkner County, you're concerned, you are okay as far as the severe threat goes, but we are still watching that tornado warned storm to the south. And Christopher, you have a track up on that?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and here's a look at that track there too. So what we're looking at here is velocity. That is thunderstorm winds with this. We still have that rotation that has now officially pushed in towards Nevada County. And I've got that track that again is pushing off towards the northeast. We're having this about 50 to 55 miles per hour to the northeast. And here are some communities here of when that rotation may get to your area. So I'll go over a few of these communities. Willisville, it's right over you as we speak right now. It's about maybe another 5 minutes or so, but go ahead, get to that tornado safe place if you're not already there. Kell, about 5:50, Bluff City, 6 o'clock, and maybe up towards Red Hill by 6:08. So if this continues to hold together throughout Nevada County, I think it's something that we'll have to watch for Clark County. I think that we could see a warning extended there, but that's if this does continue to hold together. This isn't an environment that could support a tornado. There's still a few things that are acting against it, but still it's something that we'll continue to monitor very closely. There was an area earlier up in far northeastern parts of Nevada County that had a little bit of rotation, and I'll go ahead and zoom to that area too, so we can get everyone here on the map. But it was up here towards Red Hill. It's broad rotation. You still kind of see it. It's a little bit of a mess, but this is over towards Clark County and then pushing up towards Grant County as well. So just to the north of Red Hill. This did have a tornado warning on it just a few minutes ago, maybe about 15 minutes ago, but that has been allowed to expire. It has not been extended, and I don't really see anything that would favor it being extended at this time. Maybe a little bit of rotation there. Again, you can still kind of see it, but the latest scan now pushing it further off towards the northeast. The greens here, that's winds going towards the radar. The reds here are winds going away from the radar. And where you've got that broad area here, this is where you've got that rotation. And again, it's broad and it's not enough to warrant a tornado warning, but it is something that definitely will continue to track as it pushes off towards the northeast, going in towards the Grant County area. So I'm going to look back over here on radar, and we're going to look up here towards the north part of the state. So over here towards Heber Springs, north central Arkansas, Van Buren County, and I'm going to get Heber Springs on there from this area actually over in Quitman. But we have a few of these thunderstorms that are beginning to push in over towards the Cleveland County area at this time. These are not severe. They're not posing a tornado risk at this time, but this is just a common scene that we're seeing throughout Faulkner County, just to the east of Greenbrier and just to the east of Conway. Some heavy rain, some lightning, probably hearing some thunder, but a much heavier rainfall beginning to push over here towards the Johnson County area and going in towards Logan County, where we've got that flash flood warning. And this is right over towards Interstate 40. So I'm going to get an iDrive camera put up here in just a minute, Jenna, and I'll show you what it looks like along Interstate 40. I was looking at it over here on the computer. It is a mess. So if you have to go out and drive this morning on the interstate, especially heading up towards northwest Arkansas, just expect to hit a lot of heavy rainfall, some gusty winds, and of course we'll continue to track those storms ahead of that line too that now have posed a tornado threat down in southwestern Arkansas.
Yeah, that's a great point to bring up. If you are about to get on the roads this morning for any reason, make sure that you are weather aware. If you are within this red polygon, don't go out on the roads right now. Definitely wait for that to subside, wait for that to move out of your area. I wanted to put this arrow to show you where this storm is moving. It is moving to the north and east. So as we've been verbally saying, parts of Clark County, parts of Dallas County will eventually see this supercell. It looks different right now because it is so far away from that radar site in Shreveport, Louisiana. So it is in a little bit of a radar hole, but we are continuing to watch. Oh no. Christopher, looks like my battery is low on this computer. We'll continue to watch that. Either way, we'll continue to keep an eye on this tornado warned storm. I want to pull up what velocity looks like one more time, and you can tell how it is so far away from radar sight because this kind of scoped arrow, this area, the circle around the radar, especially you can see it in velocity, that's kind of just outside of what the radar can fully see. So from a radar site, you have beams that pop up and go out vertically up from the radar site, and they are higher the farther out you are from that radar site. So this reading from the Little Rock radar, very far away, but even though it is far away, we can tell that it is still a area to watch for rotation. It is a couplet and it is moving to the northeast. Those in Ralston, get to your safe place right now. And Christopher, I'm going to send things back to you so I can get this computer plugged back in.
Yeah, it's early in the morning, folks. It's now 5:30 this morning, and we're continuing to track these storms statewide. I've got a statewide view here across all of Arkansas. We've got this main line that's coming in from northern Arkansas and now pushing into western Arkansas. And along this line is heavy rain and some gusty winds. No severe thunderstorm warnings are along that line at this time. But as they continue to push in closer to north central Arkansas, I do expect there to be some gusty winds and heavy rain. Same thing in central Arkansas too. One tornado warning in the state, and again, as we were just talking about, it's over here towards the Nevada County area, and that does have rotation on it. We're still looking far away from the thunderstorm. Whenever we look at it on radar, we've got, whether you look at it from the Little Rock radar site, which is actually North Little Rock, and then actually over here towards Shreveport is another radar site. So you've got to see it's right there in between both of those radar sites there. And I'll go ahead and show you what I'm talking about here and why this makes it challenging to look at what exactly is going on at the base of the storm. With that said, you look at that signature there, and you could definitely see that there is some strong rotation right over Willisville. So if you're over the Willisville area, and hopefully you're in your tornado safe spot at this time, because this is some strong rotation as it is continuing to push through the Nevada County area. But yeah, that's a pretty strong rotation. Again, we're looking a little bit higher up into the storm, meaning that this is more of an updraft reading. The winds are going to look a lot stronger than maybe what they actually are at the surface at this time. I don't think that this is on the ground, but let's go ahead and treat it as if it is. It's always great to do that with any type of tornado warning. But let's just go ahead and continue to track this storm as it does push in closer to the Ralston area. And I think it's going to be over there towards Ralston within the next, I would probably say, 10-15 minutes. We'll go ahead and get a track on that, and I'll show you what I'm looking at here. So there is that main storm. The main area of rotation within that storm. We're pushing it off towards the northeast and gets it over towards the Ralston area about 5:49, so about 5:50 over towards Ralston. So you've got another, I'd say, 5 to 10 minutes to get to that safe spot. Hopefully you're already there. And this tornado warning again continuing up until 6 a.m. So this is a pretty strong signature here, a pretty strong signature in terms of rotation. And again, we're looking up higher into that storm. This is a little bit more of that updraft. There's some heavy rainfall with it as well. Maybe this is going, it's the indraft into that storm, but we're just going to continue to track this as it does approach the Highway 371 area and pushes more towards the northeast. So let's look at radar once again. Again, that heavy rainfall pushing over there towards Ralston. And then there was another storm that we were looking at that's now over towards Clark County. It's right over here. This actually had a tornado warning on it about 20 minutes ago. I'm not really seeing signs at this time that this is still rotating. I see broad rotation right here that's coming into Sparkman, but there's not enough to warrant a tornado warning. But it's something that we'll continue to track as it does push in closer through the Grant County area. Any other areas in the state that we need to be watching? At this time, I'll just go ahead and show you over in western Arkansas. This is coming in towards Polk County. Right here is where we've got that strong area of winds that's beginning to push in. So this is where that line of storms is pushing through. And I will say, once this line pushes through your area, you are in the clear in terms of that severe threat. Jenna?
Yeah, it's positive that that line coming through, once you're behind it, you're done with that severe threat. So there is great news on the horizon. There's still that flooding threat, even though on the back end of that line. And we do have, again, a flash flood warning in place for parts of Logan and Scott counties that goes until 7:45. We've already seen between 1 and 2 inches of rain within this corridor. Slow moving thunderstorms and showers have just dropped a ton of rain. So if you live near a creek, near a river, near a pond, near a lake within this green polygon, definitely be on top of what is going on outside of your home. If you notice fast moving, fast flowing flooding around your house, seek higher ground immediately. And that's what this flash flood warning is in place until 7:45. So it includes Boonville, it includes Paris, and we'll zoom in, kind of show you a few more towns in here that are included in this flash flood warning. We have, zooming in a little more, we have Driggs. Highway 109 is included in this flash flood warning. Mountain Magazine, Boonville, Tate, parts of State Highway 23 and down towards State Highway 71. So throughout this flash flood warning, definitely be cautious. If you are on the roadways or if you're about to be on the roadways, if you encounter a flooded roadway, turn around and find a new route. It is never safe or never recommended to drive into a flooded roadway. We'll go back to those 2 tornado warnings one tornado warning and an area that we're still watching, kind of rotating as it moves through parts of Clark and Dallas counties. So these two storms are really what we're watching right now for anything tornadic in the state at the moment. Things can still change, and there is a tornado warning in place for parts of Nevada County, and this goes until 6 a.m. so about 15 more minutes. It is very far away from the radar, so it looks kind of lopsided compared to what we're normally seeing on a radar. It's not going to look its best. It'll change how it looks as it gets closer to the Little Rock radar site. But we do still have broad rotation in this storm that was once tornado warned. That warning was allowed to drop because that rotation is really broad. It is still really broad, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't include gusty winds. This storm right now is a wind bag of sorts. It's below severe thresholds because there's no severe warning on it, but it does have a special weather statement attached to it. So that means that wind gusts between 40 and 50 miles an hour is still possible within this cell, moving through parts of southeastern Clark County and into southwestern Dallas County. Right now, lots of lightning, lots of thunder still with this storm. We'll continue to watch the rotation with that one. But the rotation that is, and we just got a tornado confirmed from this storm right now in Nevada County. That's when you see that box turn pink. That means there's a confirmed tornado on the ground. I know that is redundant to say tornado on the ground, but there is a tornado occurring right now. We will take a look at velocity and show you. So that rotation is just south of Roston. It's between Roston and Willisville, moving just to the west of Irma. So it is crossing, momentarily going to cross Highway 278. So right now it is on County Road 17. That is where this tornado is right now. Again, a confirmed tornado with this warning in Nevada County. It is moving towards near Irma. So those on the west side of town in Irma, get in your shelter if you're not already there. That is where that tornado is. It will move to the northeast. It is going to move towards Roston on the northwest side of town. It will move towards State Highway 278 and can continue to the northeast. So if this all looks familiar, if this looks like your neighborhood, if this looks like where your family lives, where your friend lives, definitely give them a call if they're not already in their safe space. Now is not the time to be on the roads. Where is this going to go? Let's put a tracker on this. So this tornado will be moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour, 550 in Roston, 554 in Cale, 557 in Morris, 558 in Dills Mills, 602 in Gum Grove. So if any of those downstream are familiar to you, or if that's where you live, you want to get to your safe spot right now. There's a tornado confirmed that is doing damage in Nevada County. So this is a serious situation. We have confirmed that there is a tornado ongoing this morning in Nevada County. It's moving towards Cale. Looks like something's going on as we get new scans with the radar. I'm going to send things back over to you, Christopher, as things look like they're kind of jumpy between max one right now, and we'll get things figured out. Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like it's an interesting storm. We're looking a little bit higher up into the storm, and I just want to show you our debris tracker, and you can see it on our debris tracker. It's right here, just to a little bit to the northwest of Willisville. This area here where you see that dropout, which is a lighter colors here, this is where we've got that debris that's being shown up on radar. And this is being thrown up fairly high into the atmosphere. This could be things ranging from little twigs going up into the atmosphere, maybe some leaves or any type of thing. I know we don't really have leaves on the trees yet, but this is just a little bit of debris that's getting put in high up into the atmosphere, and that's where we were able to get that confirmed tornado there, as it now is beginning to push in towards the Roston area. So we're tracking that closely, and we're also still looking at that rotation there as it does go in closer to the Roston area. So treat this as this tornado is on the ground, it is doing damage, and it is pushing through the Nevada area. What I'm also going to show you is our storm analyst tool, and what this does is it helps us show you
and a lot less of a way of clutter. The debris tracker can get a little cluttery. It's a lot of colors on there. It looks like a rainbow. We can take this one full though. It's on max 1, and you can see it a lot better than what's behind me. But there it is, that little blue area that you see, that is just right there over the Roston area. That is where we have that rotation currently. So Roston, you are now in that rotation is now right on top of you, and it's continuing to push out towards the northeast, towards the Bluff City area. So that right there is what you were looking at, was our storm analyst tool. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to radar, and I'm going to show you once again just what we were looking at here into that storm. So we were looking at that rotation, and it's a little bit more of an updated scan, but you can see it's right there, just coming into the Roston area, and then soon to be going in towards the Bluff City area too. So yeah, a lot of changing between radars, and again, we are right in that in-between of where we're looking at the Little Rock radar site and where we're looking at the Shreveport radar site. Right now, I think we have a better look from the Shreveport radar site for now, but over the next couple of scans, I do think that we will have to switch over to the Little Rock one. And what I'm going to do is also look at any type of, let's see if we got anything else coming up here on velocity. We still have that debris signature that's just showing up just to the north of Willisville. When did that debris signature start showing? With this most recent scan. So there you can see it, that area, and I'm going to circle it because I want you to see what I'm talking about here. Right here is where we had that debris getting picked up into the atmosphere and then showing up on radar there too. You got a lot of colors here that you're looking at, but you're able to pick it out because what's going on is all of these reds that you see all throughout this area. And here's a new scan here showing that debris still there on the ground over towards Roston. So again, or that debris showing up right over Roston. Doesn't mean it's still on the ground, but it means that there still is a good chance that it is on the ground. I mean, this storm has had the history of producing a tornado all the way back from Texas, where it has dropped a few tornadoes as well. I mean, we've tracked this all the way from 2:40 a.m. this morning, and this storm is still performing and still giving a risk for that tornado. So being possible, a tornado being possible as well. So we're tracking that again over the Roston area, looking at the rotation. It doesn't look as strong, but again, I must caution you, this is again, we're looking far out from the storm. We're looking up into the storm. So we're not able to really truly see what's happening at the base of that storm as it does push through the Nevada County area. But Bluff City, make sure you're in your safe spot. And Jenna, if this continues to get pushed down later on down the road, of course, we'll be looking at the northwestern side of Ouachita County, Clark County, and maybe even into Grant County. We'll be tracking it closely.
Yeah, so if you were in any of those counties Christopher just mentioned, you need to be watching this storm very closely as it moves to the north and east. I've got a tracker out now where that rotation is at this time. It has now just moved to the northeast and Roston. It is moving towards Dills Mills, Bluff City, Reeder as well. So 608 moving into Reeder, 612 Red Hill, 559 Dills Mills, 557 in Morris as it continues to move to the north and east. Once again, this is it's an observed tornado that has been spotted in Nevada County. Now, whether it's still on the ground, it was once on the ground, so that's no longer important. It does look like an additional warning was just placed within, or another warning outside of it. Let's see what this specifically is. So this one now goes for the next hour or the next 50 minutes through Nevada County. So we'll see if this gets issued downwind as it moves into Clark County eventually, as well as Dallas County. So that's where this storm is moving. So this storm right now, it is in northern Nevada County, northeast Nevada County. It's moving to the north and east. So it'll continue to push into parts of far southern Clark County, into parts of Dallas County, and clipping parts of Ouachita County. Right now it is over Cale. And on top of this storm, storm having an observed tornado with it. So that means a tornado has just occurred or is occurring with this storm. Treat this storm with the utmost respect, the severity. Head to your tornado safe spot. If you're not already there within this pink warning, it is now pink because that means that a tornado has been confirmed with this warning as it moves to the north and east. We'll continue to watch to see if NWS Little Rock does issue this into Clark County, but for now we're continuing to watch this. As Christopher and I have been saying, it's in a radar hole, so it's not going to look like some of the best data that we've ever shown you, but keep in mind that doesn't matter. The data is there. We have an observed tornado tag on this warning. So it's now north of Ralston. Let's take a look at velocity. We have a few more scans now probably. And keep in mind, it doesn't look great right now, but it's also just in the middle of that radar hole. So it's not going to look great really until it moves closer to the Little Rock radar site, unfortunately. So we're doing what we can with the data that we have available. We have to treat this as if the tornado is still ongoing northeast of Ralston. It is moving towards Highway 299. I'll zoom in a little bit more on this rotation to show you where it is moving. And we're moving between radar sites. So if you notice it moving from green to red to green to red, that is because we are farther away from the radar site. So it is moving towards Dills Mills, Highway 299, continuing to move to the north and east. Bluff City is moving towards Highway 387, still within this pink polygon. So keep that all in mind as this moves to the northeast from Mount Moriah towards Dills Mills. Again, this is a confirmed tornado warning in Nevada County, and we're watching to see if this will be issued into Clark County as well. But this is something where if you have any friends, any family in Nevada County, definitely give them a call. Make sure that they are aware of this ongoing tornado warning. And once again, if you're just joining us, this is the only tornado warning that we are watching in the state. There is a confirmed tornado tag with this warning. Beyond this, though, statewide, we'll go back to satellite and radar here for a second. We only have that flash flood warning in place for parts of Logan and Scott. Otherwise, this is that line that moves through. On the back end of that line, the severe threat is over. The flooding threat continues, but that line is pushing through and it is gusty. There's no severe warnings with that line right now. That does not mean that it is not gusty when it moves through. It could have small hail attached as well. Heavy rain for sure. Right now that line is pushing through parts of north central Arkansas down into Newton County, as well as pushing towards Yell County through Logan County. So it's pushing through that area with that flash flood warning in place right now, adding even more rainfall rates to an area that is already saturated, and it is continuing to push into Scott County as well. That line will continue to progress as we head through this morning. Christopher, do you have an update?
Yeah, I was looking at power outages in that area towards Nevada County, and this is right over towards Willisville, and it looks like something has happened. We're looking at those lines there that you see are in red. I know it's kind of hard to see the city name. That again is over towards Willisville, but this is along Highway 371, Highway 371 I should say actually, but then Highway 32, there is some power outages there. This is usually a good indicator that something has caused damage. Whether that be from the tornado, that's something that the National Weather Service is going to have to go and survey, of course, and they'll be able to determine that. But this just is to give you warning that we have had power outages from this storm. It doesn't look like there is many power outages. It looks like there is just a couple of areas with those outages, but a very good way that we like to see if there was anything that may have touched down or maybe something that it was causing damage. But we'll go ahead and show you what we're looking at again statewide. As Jenny was saying too, we have got that line of storms that is extending all the way from St. Louis all the way here to northern Arkansas and Oklahoma towards Texas. Over 700 miles long is how long that storm is. But it's these storms ahead of that line that we're mainly concerned with, especially over towards southwestern Arkansas and beginning to push into Clark County. We'll see if the National Weather Service in Little Rock extends this tornado warning. They were talking about how the signature looks a lot less organized, I would say, and the velocity doesn't look too great. So the winds in this don't look all that great. I'm seeing the same thing. This doesn't look to be as put together as it was whenever it was over Willisville, but as you saw with the power outages, we saw a few areas with some outages in that area, so wouldn't doubt it at all something did touch down. Whether that is still on the ground, not 100% certain of that at this time. Still go ahead and treat as if it is. It's always safe to do that whenever you're under a tornado warning, but we'll see how this progresses more towards the northeast. Again, it's moving at 50 to 55 miles per hour, and while you see a sharp cutoff here in terms of this warning, we have two different zones of National Weather Service offices that the Nevada County area, and then we'll decide to issue that warning, wake up a lot of people, of course, but that's under a good reason, down for Clark County and in towards Grant County. So we're just in that time of the year. Any type of thunderstorm that you see that has a warning on it, please just make sure that you are taking your safety precautions, and we'll continue to track it for you as well. But just looking at it over the last few scans, and my radar just went right up there towards northwest Arkansas. Looking at it towards the last few scans, just looking at how much this storm has shrunk in size, that's usually a good indicator that it is weakening as well. So that is good news. So there's a new update now. So now going from that confirmed tag to the just regular tornado tag that we were talking about. So there was an analysis, Jenna, just talking about how it may not still be on the ground, but still broad rotation, still treated. You know, you're under that tornado warning, but it has been updated. That polygon has been updated, and it now includes portions of Bluff City and to the north of Roston. So you are no longer included in that tornado warning, Roston, and same thing towards Willisville. We'll be checking into this area towards Willisville throughout today to tell you if there has been a tornado that has dropped in that area. But all I can see right now, at least, you know, it's nighttime, really hard to get pictures this time of the night, and hopefully no one is getting any pictures. You're in your tornado safe spot. But according to the Entergy website, Jenna, we did see a few power outages in that area.
Well, Christopher, I'd believe it. Definitely a lot of wind with these storms. Thankfully, they've pretty much been below severe parameters, so we haven't seen wind gusts on radar up to 60 miles an hour or above, or quarter-size hail. And the other positive news about, at least right now, we haven't seen a lot of storms able to go up and stay discreet. There is a lot of muddiness on the radar across the state, and those discrete storms were why we were originally talking about this morning being a risk for tornadoes, and that's exactly what's happening with this one discrete storm. It is weakening. I imagine it's moving into an environment that is just slightly less favorable than it was in parts of East Texas, where it did drop a tornado near Prospect, Texas. Nocturnal tornado. Another nocturnal tornado looked to have happened in Nevada County not too long ago, but it has since lifted, and this storm is weakening too. It looks like it's weakening. It's getting smaller as we're looking at it on radar right now, and I wanted to show the rest of southwest Arkansas because it does look like this is where the drier air is at the moment. This area very worked over all the way down from Miller and Lafayette County to where these storms are now, because they've pretty much taken up all the energy from the environment in the string that they came from to where they are now. But as far as spots towards Little River, Sevier County, Howard County, now all of this is very congested too. We are seeing some more pop-up thunderstorms start to popcorn out here towards McCurtain County, Oklahoma, into East Texas and Little River County. And we'll continue to watch those, but because they're already popping up one after another, that's going to be very clustered. And when we have a lot of clustering on radar, that makes it very hard for a supercell to have all of the necessary ingredients to put together what's needed to start spinning and then drop a tornado like this discrete cell has been able to do at least 2 times tonight that we are aware of. The nocturnal threat of this makes it really hard. We're getting closer and closer to sunrise, and that'll make this threat a lot easier. Still a threat of tornadoes, so it's still the same beast. We're just talking about that beast in the daylight versus the beast in the darkness, so we can see it this time. Not that we want you to go outside. If there is a tornado warning issued for your location, we do not want you to go outside and try to take a look, but this has been downgraded, as we've seen, to a tornado warning from that observed tornado warning in Nevada County. With that being said, still treat this warning as you should. Stay in your tornado safe place if you are within this red polygon. It is continuing to show weaker and weaker activity. Still some broad rotation. This is a cyclic supercell. So as it continues to move to the north and east, if it can encounter another area of more favorable environment, and as I said, it only moved into an area a little less favorable than East Texas. It's still a favorable environment for those in central Arkansas and central southern Arkansas that it's moving into. Just we're moving from maybe a little less energy out there compared to the energy that was out there in East Texas and far southwest Arkansas. But with this in mind, this is still moving. This is still moving off to the north and east. Whether it has a tornado tag or not, when it moves into KLRT County here pretty soon, it will still have wind with it, a lot of lightning. On top of that, it's going to be a heavy rain event, as we're seeing pretty much across the state. And overall, I mean, you talked about having already power outages reported across the state, Christopher.
Some gusty winds. Actually saw some more power outages, I should say, up there towards Pike County as well. But here's another wide view of this. We've got that tornado warning that's in Nevada County. Some folks asking about further down the line. I think I saw someone earlier asking about Dallas County into that area. If this storm can hold together, it will be pushing towards the Dallas County area, but we're just going to have to see how it does progress through Clark County and into Gret County. Here's a look at over here towards Howard County, Sevier County, going up towards Polk County, and even Scott County. We've got a new severe thunderstorm warning that is now along this line of storms, but this is beginning to push in more towards Yell County and even northern portions of Montgomery County. I'll go ahead and zoom into that severe thunderstorm warning because those are also something that can pack a punch. And there it is. You can see the winds really packing a punch with this storm. I mean, that is just something that we'll just continue to watch as we go throughout the rest of this morning. As this line progresses through the state, I do think that we're going to be seeing some pretty strong wind gusts along with it too. So that is probably up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts as that line does push through going into Scott County. Let's get a statewide view here. If you are watching in north central Arkansas, if you're watching towards Heber Springs, towards Clinton, towards Mountain View, Mountain Home, that line of storms will be into your area within the next hour to 2 hours. If you're watching here in central Arkansas, that line of storms won't be here probably until about 8 a.m. So we've got a little bit of time, but there are still a few storms ahead of that line that's in southwestern Arkansas that could drift into central Arkansas that would deliver some thunderstorms before that main line does get here, and that would allow for some gusty winds and maybe even some small hail with this as well. Can't really rule that out, but the main threat this morning is the strong winds, the damaging winds along that line, not out of the question in a few areas, and especially as we go towards the western part of the state, already starting to see those strong winds as they are beginning to push into northern parts of Montgomery County. So that yellow that you see in the background, that is the tornado watch that is issued until 8 a.m. as well. I'm going to get a few more county names in here too in case you're watching from portions of west central Arkansas towards Garland County, going in towards Perry County. This line of storms will be pushing into your area within the next hour or so, maybe up to 2 hours. And then for Pine Bluff, even over towards Dallas County, Grant County. Grant County, you're already seeing that storm that's already pushing into your area, but this tornado warned storm over here towards the northwestern part of Nevada County, that's going to first push in towards Clark County and then go towards the Ouachita County, and then if it continues to hold, it will go through the Grant County area. Now, whether or not a tornado warning gets extended to that area, that's a whole other question because it's just not looking as strong as we were looking at prior as it was down towards Willisville. A lot more broad. And Jenna, we're just watching that. You know, I think this is, of course, nothing to panic about, and I don't think anyone's panicking over it, but just something that we're watching very closely as that line of storms now delivering damaging winds over towards Scott County gets closer to the central part of the state.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that tornado warning in Nevada County still has about 35 minutes attached to it. So we'll see if that is expired as it moves off to the northeast or not. But as we look towards that line moving through, as Christopher was talking about, it does pack a punch. Not only is it pretty slow moving, it was kind of quick moving at first. It moved through Benton and Washington counties really quickly, and now it is slowing down in northwest southwest Arkansas from Mena up towards north central Arkansas, kind of near as we go towards Boone County and Marion County. So this line extends and is continuing to push across the state. Once again, once you're on the backside of this line, we will not see a severe risk. And of course, my map was more zoomed in than I thought it was. So of course, that is not Boone County that I was talking about, but you know what I mean. So Benton County, Washington County, on the backside of this line, outside of that severe risk. So this line, once that passes your location, no longer seeing that severe risk, but a risk for flooding does remain, as that flash flooding warning that is in place for parts of Logan and Scott counties will remain until 7:45. And Christopher, you have our cameras up, and we have brand new cameras just in time for this event.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and we're looking out on the Pine Bluff camera. This is actually here from the Conway camera, and we're going to get it to load here in just 1, 2, 3. There we go. You can see some lightning there into the background. This is looking at a storm in northern Jefferson County. There it is. If you look very closely, there could be a little bit of a shelf cloud way back there. It's kind of hard to see, but this is a brand new camera that we have here that was just installed last week, actually a couple days ago, looking out from the Saracen Casino Resort. This is looking off towards the north, and we're looking at a small storm that's up in northern Jefferson County that's just to the east of Redfield, and it is producing some heavy rainfall. And I think as we get this line of storms that will be pushing in towards central Arkansas within the next couple of hours, and you see some more lightning there in the Pine Bluff tower camera that we have, I think we're going to start to see more shelf clouds, or at least a solid shelf cloud moving in with that main line as it does get into the central part of the state. I want to take you to Conway, Arkansas, where we've got another Arkansas Storm Team camera that we have recently installed. And this is going to be very imperative to look at whenever we get that line of storms to push in, because it's going to allow us to see in real time what is happening in that part of the state. So 2 new cameras to talk about here, one of those being in Pine Bluff over at Saracen, this one being at Conway Regional, looking out there towards the north. And right now, not seeing any storms over there towards Conway. We had some rain early. You can see the raindrops right there on the sky camera. We'll go ahead and look at the dash heating and cooling sky camera here in Little Rock. This is in downtown. And we are looking off towards the west, and you can see just some, they look like scary clouds, dark clouds, but they're not. I mean, we're just looking at just some low-hanging clouds. The sun's beginning to come up, and we'll just continue to watch this and look for any type of signal of storms that are coming in on it. You can see some lightning there also flashing. That's from that storm that's in Jefferson County too. So we have got you covered on these cameras, and we'll continue to track that these storms as they do get closer towards those counties too. I want to go ahead and go in really quick on this storm here. We are looking over towards Van Buren County. A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing. Let's go ahead and look at velocity here. This is looking at winds in that thunderstorm. Not seeing any rotation yet, but the reason why I say I don't like what I see is you see a little bit of inflow here trying to sneak in on the northern side of that storm. Sometimes what you can have happen is these storms will be pushing out right here, kind of like bowing out a little bit, and you can get these little notches on the top part of that storm, and that could cause for some rotation. So that's something that we will be watching very closely. It is not tornado warn, it is only severe thunderstorm warn at this time, which is agreeable. I don't see any type of rotation at this time, but we're going to see how this progresses over towards the Van Buren County area over the next few scans. If this does continue down the line, this will be something to worry about for the Clinton area and even northern parts of Van Buren County, and then maybe even extending into southern parts or south of Marshall, going into the southern parts of Stone County. We're going to be watching this one very closely. Again, that is a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued. It is not yet attached to that main line that is pushing through right now as we speak through Pope County. Here's the main line right there, and this is actually in its own environment. So that's why we also really need to be watching that area too. The tornado threat, it's low for this morning, but it is still there. And Jenna, we're watching that one particular storm that's just now north of Hector as it continues to push off towards the northeast at 50 miles per hour. I'll give you an update here in just a second if we get any new scans on that velocity.
Yeah, that is the storm to watch. We still have that warning in place for parts of Nevada County. That storm has definitely weakened, but as we get more scans in from this, Christopher, you're right, this kind of notch into here, we got to continue to watch to see if something starts spinning within this, because like you said, it is ahead of the line. Within the line, we could still see a brief tornado, but anything ahead of the line that is able to stay separate from the line, and at some point, unless it starts moving pretty quickly and starts ripping to the northeast, it will congeal with the line, and that would mean kind of the chances, unless the line helps initiate it for a second, it would be a brief thing that we'd be watching, but that's still something to watch. So this area is moving from Pope County and into Van Buren County. Pea-sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. With this severe warning, it goes until 7 a.m. It also includes parts of Searcy County and parts of Conway County, northern Conway, southern Searcy, as well as eastern Pope County. So who is included in this warning and when will it move through? Let's put a track on this notch, the very least, as it moves to the northeast. So this notch will be moving through areas like Lost Corner momentarily in the next 4 minutes. Dabney 625, Archie Valley 632, Booster at 638, Wiley's Cove moving through at 647, 652 in Arlberg. So something to think about as this heads through. This is a storm that means business. Even though it is not a tornado warning, those within the yellow polygon head inside. If you were outside for any reason, head indoors, away from windows. You should not be driving in this. If you do know people out on the roads, maybe give them a call, let them know, hey, if you could turn around or find somewhere to stop in the meantime, because this is heavy rain too. So not only are we talking about that severe threat, this is very heavy rain. So that means that it's going to be very hard to see on the roadways. As we get better data, we'll continue to watch this. We also have that severe thunderstorm warning in place for parts of Scott, Polk, and Montgomery counties. This is also watching for the winds, and this is on the end of that line. So as we start to see that line congeal and move more storms towards it, so envelop more its way, produce more on the south end, we could start to see some spinning on the south end of that line depending on how far it goes down. If the southern end is well to our south in Arkansas, that's not something to be concerned about. But for right now, any of these notches that we see jetting out from this line, that'll be something that we've got to watch for, that brief tornado spin up. And within a line, so a linear setup, it's a little harder to warn for compared to a discrete supercell. A discrete supercell on its own usually has a bit more lead time than anything warned within a linear setup. So let's zoom out. I'll show you this entire line as we continue to see it move through the state. And once again, once you're on the back side of this line, you're done with the severe threat. So that means that you're done with the threat for tornadoes, you're done with the threat for hail, you're done with the threat for damaging wind gusts, but you still have the threat for flooding that will continue through today and once that rain pitters out as we head into this afternoon. So here's that line. It extends all the way from north central Arkansas down towards Mena in Polk County. So in the tail end of this, and it extends really into Texas as well. But if there's any breakages in that line, that'll be something that we've got to just watch a little bit. Especially, it looks like there is a breakage in McCurtain County, Oklahoma, as it continues to push into the state. So areas like this where this line could separate from the main line as well in parts of Oklahoma and Texas, that'll be something to watch. But anything on the leading edge, that's what we watch too for a new warning, something to keep in mind for sure. And on top of that, our tornado warned storm in southwest Arkansas in Nevada County, that warning continues, but it does look like that storm has since moved well away from where that warning is. So that rotation, it is still weak, but it is moving into southern Clark County. It's moving out of this warning. I expect this warning to be lifted at any moment. Now, there's no warning on this storm. There's no severe warning on this storm either. It is still hefty though. It still packs a punch. So it still has gusty winds, heavy rain. It's still has lightning throughout it, so that's going to be the case with a lot of the storms that we experience today. They're going to be loud, there's going to be a lot going on, but they are breaking apart. So both of these storms, this was the original storm that we were talking about, and this was another storm that we were talking about that originally had, and it looks like they did allow that tornado warning to expire. These were the two areas that we were watching, these two storms that we were watching. They have since weakened as they moved into an environment a little less conducive. On top of that, a muddy environment. Going back to the satellite and radar across the state, look how much is going on across the state. There's not a lot of room for one singular tornado to be able to just move and grow without bumping into a lot of other showers on this map. But in mind, if you're just tuning in this morning, we have two severe thunderstorm warnings in place right now. We have one that is moving in from Pope County into Van Buren County. It also includes parts of Searcy County and parts of Clinton County or Conway County. We also have another warning in place for parts of Scott, Polk, and Montgomery counties. Christopher?
Yeah, and we're continuing to track those storms, and you know, the wind threat, I think, is what it's really turning into. There is still a tornado threat. The tornado threat is very low, but it's still there. It's not zero. And I just want to show you what our storm analyst tool looks at. This is a very good feature to look at in terms of trying to identify where there may be rotation or there may be strong winds. You see that line of blue that's crossing from Pope County and into Van Buren County? That's the area that is packing those winds, and that's heading now into the Van Buren County area. So that just kind of simplifies and shows you what we're looking at in terms of that one storm that is up there into the Van Buren County area now, so transferring from Pope County and pushing in towards the Van Buren County area. It looks like some strong winds, damaging winds possible with that as it does get closer. We'll soon be up towards Clinton, Denard, Old Lexington, and Shirley. So there's a look at the storm analyst tool that we were just looking at there. And I also want to go ahead and pan up here towards Van Buren County, and we're going to look at this storm once more. It does look like it is bowing out a little bit there too. Maybe not as much of a inflow on the northern side of that storm. But that's good news. Doesn't mean that we still can't get a quick area of rotation that will form with that storm as it pushes into northern Van Buren County. But you could see where that line is. That main line is actually right here, extending from Mount Pleasant and then going into Pope County. And then this storm is ahead of that line. So that's why we've got that's why we're watching that area at least, because it is ahead of that line and it is in its little bit of its own environment as it pushes in towards Van Buren County. Cleburne County, you've got a few showers and thunderstorms that are pushing through, but these are not severe. If we look over here closer towards central Arkansas into Little Rock, folks may be waking up wondering, when is this going to hit us? When is it going to be pushing into our area? Well, there is rainfall on the way. That's the good news. But in terms of when it's going to hit, I want to use the word hit. When is it going to be moving in? I think over the next, I'd say, hour to 2 hours here for central Arkansas, and we're going to see this line begin to push in. And in terms of Little Rock, I'd probably say about 8 to 9 o'clock is when we'll see that line moving through Little Rock. And then same thing up towards Conway. You saw earlier we have a new tower camera, sky camera, that we're looking out from Conway, Arkansas Storm Team camera that we just recently installed. So we're going to be able to see this line of storms as it does begin to push in towards the Conway area. Also had a view of it down towards Pine Bluff, and we'll go ahead and push down towards the Pine Bluff area, towards the southern part of the state, where we've got some storms ahead of the main line. So the main line's over here towards Polk County, going in towards Scott County, where we've got that severe thunderstorm warning. There are some strong winds along this line, could be allowing for some damaging winds along the line too. So we're going to be watching that closely. Another hazard that I'm seeing is flash flooding. We actually had a flash flood warning earlier. It's still up and up there towards, I'll go ahead and zoom into that area now, up there towards the Logan County area and Scott County. That's where we had a flash flood warning that was issued earlier for those storms that were merging together. And now I'm starting to get a little bit concerned of maybe some flash flooding being possible over here towards Glenwood. We'll go ahead and zoom in and get a few more town names on here. Murfreesboro. And if this does continue up here towards the Garland County area, a lot of heavy rain headed for you too. And I do think these showers and thunderstorms will be pushing into Little Rock as soon as that line of storm starts to push in too later on this morning. No tornado warnings in the state. That tornado warning has been allowed to expire. I think maybe it was canceled over there towards Nevada County. But we are going to stick with this for you because we are tracking this line of storms that is producing some damaging winds, and we're just going to want to make sure that nothing does try to sneak up on us. But if it does, know that we are watching it here for you, and we're going to be giving you the latest information as it does become available. I was looking on the power outages map. I was trying to see, do we have any power outages across the state? The only ones that I really could see was down there in Nevada County, where we had that confirmed tornado earlier towards Willisville, and it was along Highway 32, and same thing over there along Highway 371. That's about the only area that I'm seeing power outages at this time. But now I've refreshed the map, seeing a few more power outages towards Franklin County, Logan County, even pushing up towards Newton County. So what this tells me is that this line of storms is packing a punch, and it's causing for maybe a few tree branches to fall, maybe even a tree or two to fall as well. And that is going to be the hazard as we continue throughout the rest of this morning, damaging winds with the possibility of a quick area of rotation and maybe even a brief tornado. Jenna?
Yeah, that's going to be the thing that we watch as that line comes through for sure. And we are, of course, watching this area that we've been watching since it popped up ahead of the line. This is moving into Van Buren County from Polk County and clipping parts of northern Conway County. Also included in this warning is parts of southern Searcy County. So this is moving to the northeast, northeast. It'll move towards Clinton. It'll move towards towns between Mount Pleasant and Clinton. With that being said, we're still watching for this to have maybe a little bit of an area of rotation with it. It does look very weak, but we're still kind of giving it a watch. It is now being sucked in pretty much on the back end of this of itself. It has the line that is pretty much just about to absorb it. So once it's absorbed into the line, those two kind of energies could collide, and maybe we've got a brief spin up there. So that is something to watch for sure. But keep in mind, once that line comes through, your severe threat is over. So we have, let's zoom out, this long big line that's coming through, and as Christopher said, this is more of now a wind event, I would say, across the state as far as severe weather. But a non-zero tornado threat still continues as long as this line is active and pushing through Arkansas. Those ahead and really along that leading edge of this line, you can tell it's kind of squiggly. There's jagged edges. Those jagged edges and those arms that stick out from QLCS lines like this linear storm mode, that's where we look for a chance for a brief tornado spin up. Now, as it continues to push to the southeast, we'll see this progress across the state. So those of you that are in Little Rock and thinking, I've only seen, a few garden variety showers this morning, this line is on the way, and there's a lot of showers popping up on the back end as well. So with that being said, even though those on the back end of this line are done with their threat of severe weather, there's still that flooding threat that is going to continue into today. And as Christopher said, those areas in southwest Arkansas that have just continuously seen showers and storms move through for really, I would say, about the past 4 hours, that's where we're going to see another threat of flooding and flash flooding pop up as well. So again, those of you in central Arkansas, in the Little Rock Metro, if you're waiting to see what is happening, tuning in, what's going on with the weather around you, you're waiting for this line to move in, and the crinkly, jagged parts of the line, that's where we're watching for a brief tornado spin up. But really beyond that, and it's a small chance of a tornado at this point, that chance has dropped significantly through the morning. Damaging wind gusts and flooding are going to be the main event as we head through the rest of today and continue to push this line out of the state. I will say, we've been talking for quite some time. We need rain, and that is certain, and at least we're getting some rain. I just wish it didn't come with strings attached. Christopher, I see your hand up.
Yeah, and I just want to watch, there's this other part of the storm in Van Buren County that I'm watching closely. I'm going to pull up my storm analyst tool, and I'll show you what I'm looking at here. But you could see that bright green spot. That possibly is an area that may be quickly trying to rotate. It still looks like a line of wind that is pushing through Van Buren County, but sometimes you can get this with these type of storms as it does push into the Van Buren County area. So I just wanted to really call that out really quick, just in case that is something there. I still think more so just a severe thunderstorm, but the way that the storm is looking, if it continues the way that I'm thinking it is, maybe we get a little bit of inflow here in that part of the storm, and that could cause for some rotation to occur. So this is what I'm looking at right now. I was looking at this area here, and you saw it on the storm analyst tool with that bright green spot. And as this does begin to approach the Clinton area, that will be something that we will watch very closely. I actually want to pull up the Clinton iDrive camera, and I'm going to get that up here in just a moment. I'm going to show you what we're looking at in Clinton. It's a very calm morning, not much really happening at this time. But if you look over towards, let's see if I can get it pulled up. There we go. And this is a live look over here towards the Clinton area, where we've got that area of that thunderstorm that will be pushing into Clinton within the next 20 to maybe even sooner than that, 15 minutes. This is a very fast-moving storm, but very calm now. Things are going to be changing on this camera. This is the iDrive camera that we're looking at as this storm does get closer to the Clinton area. I'm going to go back to radar and show you what I was talking about once more. I think we got just a new scan here, and we'll see what happens with this area here. But we're just watching it closely. I don't think it's enough to warrant a tornado warning at this time, but definitely something that is enough for us to be looking at. Let's look at some lightning here. I think we might have some. The Pine Bluff, Jenna's got the Pine Bluff camera, so we'll go ahead and toss it back over to you. And I saw that there was a lot of lightning strikes on that.
Yeah, so Chief Meteorologist Todd Jacobian is watching. He is active with us, and he is kind of sending us messages to let us know that we're staying on top of things, because there are sometimes things that you miss when you're talking to a camera, to make sure that you guys are safe as well. And our brand new Pine Bluff camera on top of Saracen Casino is showing, I just saw a positive CG cloud to ground strike on this camera. It is dark out there. The sun is, oh, look, another one right there. Well, lots of lightning out there this morning. So that's another reminder, even if you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning right now, even if you're not in a flash flood warning right now, you still have a risk. Don't go outside, because lightning is also a risk, and that is present with just about every storm across Arkansas right now. Shower or storm, we're seeing lightning really progress this morning, really amp up. It's a gorgeous view from our brand new Pine Bluff camera. Everything's kind of this nice shade of purpley blue as the sun continues to rise in this early morning. But yeah, we've definitely seen some lightning strikes from this camera, and a lot of our cameras, like I said, we just got a camera just in time in Pine Bluff and in Conway, and we will be adding more cameras across the state. Once again, just going to hit on this tornado watch in place until 8 a.m. today, and that is for every county in yellow. So we've got Searcy County, we've got Newton County, Stone County, we've got Cleburne, Van Buren. If you see your county on here, Pulaski, Saline, Garland, Grant, Hot Spring, we'll continue to see a threat for tornadoes until this expires. With that being said, as that line moves through, your severe threat does continue to go down. Really on the backside of that line, there is no more severe threat. There's a threat for flooding, but there is not a threat for severe weather ahead of that. There is, though, and we are starting to see a few more storms out ahead of things. The other thing is, things are just still in that messy mode. So even though we're seeing that line move through, things that popped up ahead of that line, which is what we were most concerned about with this severe event, they're kind of messy. They're congealed. There's a storm here and a storm there. They go up at the same time, and then they just amass into each other, and a few more here and there. That's why it's so muddy right now out there on radar. It's bringing us some great rain, but too much rain at one time means that a flash flood warning is possible. Flooding is definitely a concern, like we've seen that flash flood warning in place until 7:45 in parts of Logan and Scott counties. And we are watching another storm just popped up there in Lonoke County. That's likely what that Pine Bluff camera is watching, and this does look pretty clustered, but let's see. It's just popping up. There's not much there, so we're going to go back to checking out that storm that we were talking about in parts of Van Buren County that does have the chance, as it congeals with the line, it looks like it is meshing with the line as we speak. What's going on rotation wise with this? It still looks pretty broad, and that's a positive thing for sure. So away and towards the radar, we are not seeing very much as far as rotation goes, and this storm still, at this time, it still has that severe thunderstorm warning in place, and that goes really for the next, well, let's query it and I'll show you. exactly the timing. So that still goes until 7 a.m. So we've got some time with that warning in place. Again, this warning is for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, which are straight line winds, can do damage. So be cautious of that, and for small hail. There's also a lot of lightning with this. There's a lot of heavy rain, and like we've been saying, that's going to be the case as we look across the state. Christopher, any more updates on power outages out there?
You know, I'm not seeing any new power outages at this time. I think the last time I saw, we had about 100 customers out without power, so 100 folks out there without power at this time. I'm going to refresh it though. Now, still seeing about 100 still. So that is good news. Hopefully no one loses power this morning. That is a very good thing if we don't. But I do want to give you a look at the statewide picture too, just to show you where we've got this line of storms. Last time I checked, it's just now past St. Louis, and it goes all the way from St. Louis all the way down towards Texas. That's more than 700 miles long of a line of storms that's pushing through. So everyone in the state is going to get in on this line of storms, whether it brings damaging winds or just some gusty winds. You know, I think mostly just a gusty wind scenario, but there is a few areas along this line that is producing some damaging winds, and one of those being up there towards Van Buren County. We've got that yellow box there. That is the tornado watch that has been issued, and that's issued until 8 a.m. this morning, but we'll see if that gets extended into eastern Arkansas. I don't see that at this time, and the tornado threat is going down as we continue throughout the rest of this morning. That doesn't mean it's zero, but I just think that things are starting to trend on the way down in terms of that tornado potential as it gets closer towards central Arkansas. I do want to zoom in a little bit more towards central Arkansas and give you an update on when we're expecting these storms to reach our part of the state here in Little Rock, Conway, Guy, Heber Springs, down towards Pine Bluff, Arkadelphia, already getting in on some showers and thunderstorms. But here in central Arkansas, I think this line really starts to make it around 8 o'clock. I think we'll start to see that pushing into Saline County within the next hour, and then pushing in towards Pulaski County within an hour and a half to 2 hours. So that's about the timeline that I can give you there in terms of north central Arkansas and our part of the state up there. I think that we'll have that line of storms pushing in towards Heber Springs within the next hour or two, and same thing up there towards Stone County. So we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued, and this is for that same severe thunderstorm that was issued for from Pope and into Van Buren, but now going into Van Buren and even into portions over there towards Cleveland County. I think this does include Fairfield Bay and Goose Ferry, so you are included in that severe thunderstorm warning. This is for damaging winds. Not really seeing a hail threat at this time. I think there could be some small hail with it, but strong winds with this as this does continue now to push through Clinton. I'm going to show you what it looks like on our camera up there, iDrive camera from the Clinton area. It's still calm. This camera is going to be changing though here fairly soon as we get this line of storms that will be pushing through there within the next 10 to 15 minutes, and it could be some damaging winds with it too. So I think that we're going to get a very clear picture, and Jenna, what I'll do is I'll just kind of wave my hand whenever I'm seeing something on this camera, and I'll have it just toss up on the screen and we'll see what happens. But I think that we're going to get some strong winds through the Clinton area within a couple more minutes.
Oh yeah, I would bet on it. And it's nice that we have the RDOT cameras to see statewide what's going on. We have our 3 Arkansas Storm Team cameras, one in Pine Bluff, one in Conway, and one on the Simmons Bank Tower in Little Rock to see things. But of course, as a meteorologist, you want a camera everywhere to see everything going on, because sometimes what we see on radar is helpful, it's nice, but we want to have eyes on the storm, what's going on out there, and that's why storm reports and chasers and camera views are just so important to the process of understanding what is going on. It's just an interesting science, you know, meteorology is such a new science. We're still learning a lot as we go. We are watching this severe thunderstorm warning that has been extended now into further parts of Van Buren County ahead of this main line, this main cluster right here that we've been watching for quite some time now. It has had maybe a little bit of hint of rotation here or there. While it doesn't look super significant right now in terms of can it get itself together and start to wrap up, I don't think so at this time, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't at some extended period of time, especially now that it is within pretty much the line itself. So it is tapping into that energy with that front as it moves through, and it's that kink. So as we take a look at this line, and honestly, it looks very hefty moving through areas like Russellville, probably very noisy as it moves through, and it's like moving along I-42. So if you are traveling this direction on I-40, you're just moving with the line. These little appendages here, this arm coming out just right here, those arms south of Danville, I would watch those for sure for a brief spin up, possible brief tornado. I know Todd doesn't like the word spin up. It's not technically a spin up. It is a brief tornado. It just kind of rolls off the tongue. One of those things where ahead of the line and along the line, that's where we're going to be watching for something to possibly be brief. And it's going to be hard to warn too, because it may only be on the ground momentarily, but as it continues to progress to the east-southeast, we have definitely some gusty winds in this line. You will notice when this line comes through. The only positive side, once you're on the back end of this line, so those to the west of Russellville now, really on the outskirts of this line, if you get beyond this yellow and dark orange shading, you are now outside of that severe risk. That's the positive part. You do still have that flooding risk that will continue, and we'll continue to keep our eyes on that storm that is now in Van Buren County. And it looks like you've got a track up right now of that storm, Christopher.
Got a track going all the way from that Van Buren County storm as it goes into now pushing into Cleburne County within the next 30 minutes to hour. And then also all the way down as this line of storms beginning to push in towards the Perry County area, Conway County, and now even going over towards the Montgomery County into Garland County soon. And even all the way over here towards the metro into Little Rock, Maumelle, Conway, Searcy. When is it going to get to your neighborhood? I know you're waking up and you're probably wondering, where's the storms? You know, they're here, they're moving through northwestern and now pushing into central Arkansas and into western Arkansas. But you can see this line of storms, it is going to be packing a punch as it does push into central Arkansas. So when is it going to get here? Greenbrier within the next 30 minutes or so. I'd say probably about 7:15. Here in Little Rock, around 8 o'clock. I think 8 o'clock is a really good time estimate for whenever that gets here to the central Pulaski County area. Saline County a little bit sooner than that. I think Benton probably within the next hour and a half, so maybe even a little bit sooner than that too. 7:50 is a good time frame for that. And then the more east that you do go, the longer it's going to take for those storms to get to you. But Searcy, I'd give you until about maybe 8 o'clock to 8:15 as well. I think this line of storms coming in from the Conway County area will be pushed through the Faulkner County area, and that will eventually push into White County as well. So there's a look at the timing in terms of this entire line that we're looking at. I'm going to give you a statewide view here of what we're looking at in terms of this line of storms. And that yellow polygon that you see there, that is the tornado watch, and we're going to see that expire. I do believe as we do get closer to about 8 o'clock, we'll get to see that expire. I don't think that this is going to get extended. I don't know that for sure, but I will say that the tornado threat is not as high as it was earlier this morning for the southwestern part of the state. We had a few tornado warnings. Actually had a couple of confirmed tornadoes that went through eastern Texas, and that storm followed all the way up to southwestern Arkansas and even over there towards Willisville in Nevada County, and it caused for some power outages in that area. So we had a confirmed tornado in that part of the state this morning, but no tornado warnings at this time. This is a line of storms that is pushing through now northern parts of the state, beginning to push into central Arkansas. We have a tower camera in the Conway area, and I'm actually going to pull that up right now so you can see what I'm talking about. But as this storm does push through Faulkner County, we're going to be able to see it live and show you what it's doing in real time. What a beautiful view though. Wow, look at that sunrise that is hitting that, looks like a little bit of virga. What that is rain that's coming from a cloud, but maybe a little bit of it evaporating before it hits the ground. I think some of it's hitting the ground though. But still, what a beautiful view there. So this is what I'm excited to be able to use this camera, but of course we want to use it without there being damage coming through the area. But if that is the case, just know if we have anything damaging coming through the Conway area, we're going to be able to tell you in real time, all thanks to this tower camera there. Also, Pine Bluff, I want to give you a look at that tower camera. We had some lightning strikes earlier. Jenna was actually looking at some lightning strikes from this camera, and a very neat view with that too. Now look at that, some of that rain in the background. But we'll be able to tell you from the Saracen Casino Resort camera that's looking off towards the northeast at this time. I do want to get a check-in on the iDrive camera in Clinton, where we've got that strong storm that is beginning to push into the Clinton area. I don't think it's officially arrived just yet, but it is right there. I think that we're going to be seeing this in Clinton within the next 5 minutes or so. So now looking at about 3,000 without power, and that's a bit of an uptick from what I saw. Let's see. Ooh, I see what it was. So it was 100 customers without power in Nevada, but if we look at it statewide, yeah, let me go ahead and go statewide. So 3,052 customers without power, and that does include areas such as Franklin County, Johnson County, Logan County. Johnson County had about 70 out without power, about 5 without power in Van Buren County as well. Pike County, about 500 without power, and then Nevada County, where we had that confirmed tornado earlier, we've got about over 100 without power. So continue to track those power outages. We're going to get another look at that tower camera agenda, but until then, we'll go and toss it to you.
Yeah, we'll show you a larger view of this entire system now as we continue to watch this severe thunderstorm warning and this kink in the entire line. This is how large it is, though. There's some breakages between us and the full end of the line all the way down into West Texas. I mean, I'll show you just how expansive this line is. It is popping up well into West Central Texas and then continuing into Arkansas, through Missouri, all the way up into Indiana and into Michigan. This is an expansive line that we are looking at, and really there's only one severe thunderstorm warning with this line across the U.S. right now, and that is that one that we are tracking in parts of Van Buren County. We do see a decent amount of flash flood warnings with this line too, and those are just as serious. Take those just as serious as you would any other severe warning. If you do encounter flooding, seek higher ground, never drive into a flooded roadway in these green polygons. We do have a flash flood warning in place until 7:45 in parts of Logan and Scott counties, but definitely an expansive system that is bringing us some much needed rain. It's just unfortunate because to get rain in Arkansas, I feel like in the spring, even though we need it, it comes with strings attached. It comes with the chance for severe weather. So pulling radar back up now, we'll zoom back into that storm that we were watching in Van Buren County as it pushes quickly to the east-northeast. Let's take a look at what velocity looks like with this. It's still pretty broad, but here's the thing. Along this line, we're not going to see that same signature that we were seeing with a discrete supercell when we were tracking that one in Nevada County that did put down a tornado. This is a very different thing that we were looking at on radar. You look for a really quick kind of tornado along the line, a really quick couplet where the green and the red are kind of doing that dance. That's what we watch for along a linear system like this. And there are some kinks to watch, but once you start to see kind of an arm come out, that's when we keep an eye on things, or those notches, like that notch that we were looking at this storm as it moved through into Pope County from Pope County into Van Buren County. So those are all things that we keep in mind when we're watching this. Still, even though there's not something to be concerned about, at least tornadically right now in this storm in Van Buren County, it is still producing up to 60-mile-an-hour winds as Christopher's been watching, and it looks like, Christopher, that iDrive camera on RDOT in Clinton is definitely starting to see some rain move in. It looks very different out there already.
Yeah, seeing some of that heavy rain that's beginning to push in through the Clinton area. I'm not seeing any strong winds at this time, but we're going to stick with this camera here over the next minute or so. I just want to see the changes that happen. I think we're going to be getting some gusty winds here very soon in the Clinton area. Maybe even some damaging winds as well. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully everyone keeps power and there's no damage along with the storm. But I can report there is no tornado threat with this at this time. So that is very good news here. Not seeing any type of tornado threat currently with this system that has a severe thunderstorm warning up there in the Van Buren County area. I'm also looking on radar here while we're sticking with this iDrive camera to see these winds move through the Clinton area. I'm also looking down towards the Conway County area. Morrilton, just a heads up, southern parts of Conway County, looks like there are some strong winds that are beginning to push into your area, and I think that could be up to maybe 50 miles per hour as it does move through. So just a heads up there. Now starting to see some more lightning in the Clinton area and some gusty winds. This is going to look very similar down there in southern parts of Conway County, but I think that we'll have a lot more gusty winds with this main line that is now pushing through southern parts of Conway County. Soon to be pushing into Conway, Arkansas and Faulkner County, and soon to be in towards the Greenbrier area too. And the good news is we have a tower camera in Conway that we're going to be able to see if there is a shelf cloud with this line of storms as it pushes in to Conway. We're going to be able to tell very soon on whether or not we see that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to the Conway tower camera and we're going to pan it over and we'll just see if we see anything at this time. So just bear with me as I rotate this camera pushing in, and Jenna, I'm going to try to get this camera in motion here, and I'm going to go ahead and toss it to you, but we'll see very soon on a shelf cloud. Oh, maybe something there.
Oh.
Let me back it up a little bit. That's steam coming out from the air conditioner. But yeah, I see something in there in the background. So yeah, we'll see what we can find here in the next few minutes if maybe there's a shelf cloud along with this line of storms.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be shocked to see a shelf cloud, especially now that the sun is up. We can see out there. I do have an update on our tornado watch. We have seen a number of counties dropped from this watch. We do still have some of us in the yellow shading. You still remain in this watch until 8 a.m. So going on for the next hour and 10 minutes or so. Still the time to be aware, but like I said, once that line passes your location, the threat of severe weather is over. That line has passed these spots. It has passed through Logan County, Scott County, Polk County, is moved through northwest Arkansas and is pushing into north central and northwestern, or west central Arkansas, I should say, as it continues to move this way. And ahead of it, just along it as well, we do have that threat for tornadoes, and that's why this tornado watch will remain. But remember, this tornado watch doesn't just talk about tornadoes. It also talks about a threat of damaging wind gusts and hail. And truly today, what we've seen is likely a shift towards the larger threat being damaging wind gusts as that line comes through. Christopher, any luck on seeing a shelf cloud out there? Or if any of you watching us right now, if you see a shelf cloud outside your house and you can safely take that video or photo or video, send that our way to KRK.com or Fox16.com.
Exactly. Yeah, and download that Arkansas Storm Team weather app, because we're going to be giving you updates all throughout the rest of the morning and into the afternoon and into this evening as the storms have already passed by. But in terms of a shelf cloud, I'm not seeing that yet. This is looking out on the Conway Regional Tower camera. Not currently seeing that. I'm going to pan back over to the RDOT camera up there in Clinton. And we can see winds picking up just a bit there in the Clinton area, and definitely some heavy rain too. But we'll continue to track this whole line of storms as it pushes in towards central Arkansas. Again, Little Rock arrives around 8 to 8:15. Conway within the next hour. So I'd probably say 7:50. You're going to be getting this storm, and over towards the Saline County area within the next hour to maybe even less than an hour now, as it's now beginning to push in towards Garland County. So we're tracking it very closely for you. And when we're talking about a shelf cloud, I just want to kind of be clear what we're talking about. I don't know if you were watching last year, but we caught it on one of the cameras. It was a very interesting, it's one of those that looks kind of like a spaceship sometimes, just depending on how it's structured. But it's a very long stretch of a storm front that will come through, and it looks very impressive whenever you see it. But to many folks, it looks scary. Some folks, they see that and they think there's a tornado coming. Usually that just means some very strong winds are coming, but still, that's why we're tracking it and seeing if we get a shelf cloud, so we can tell and inform you that, hey, this is just something that's coming along with this storm. Nothing in the way of any kind of tornado with it at that time, but like, you know, if we do see that, that is a pretty good signature of, or at least a hint that we are getting some strong winds with that line of storms as it moves through. I think we're already getting that currently. I'm going to go switch back to radar real quick. We'll continue to watch those cameras, but just looking at radar, you can see that the winds are picking up there towards the Morrilton area. I think you're going to get up to 45, maybe 50 mile per hour winds, and then it's Conway's turn. And then Heber Springs, you're going to be getting in on this line of storms that's now moving through Clinton. As you saw just a second ago on the iDrive camera, some heavy rain and some gusty winds that will be pushing in towards Fairfield Bay, Greers Ferry, and over there towards Heber Springs and northern parts of Cleveland County. Same thing in Quitman, Arkansas. Little Rock about 8 o'clock, and I'll switch back to rain here, or to radar that shows the base reflectivity, but it shows a lot of those storms are now pushing through Garland County and up through Hot Spring County and be pushing in towards Saline County here very soon. So I'm going to get a track on this in the metro currently, so we can get some folks informed here in Little Rock. So this storm is moving, I'd say, about 40 to 45 miles per hour, maybe even a little bit quicker than that. But here's a look at some times here towards the central part of the state. So Conway, again, as I was saying, about another half hour up to maybe 15 minutes. I think this storm is moving a little bit slower than that, or the line is. But here in Little Rock, I think still 8 o'clock is that time frame, and then 8 here down towards Bryant as well. We're looking at that line of storms as it does begin to now push through Garland County and then soon into Saline County. Are we looking at any tornado warnings at this time? We're not. As Jenna was saying a second ago, we had some tornado watches dropped from our western counties, and we could be seeing a lot more of those counties dropped as we go towards 8 o'clock, because that's when the watch expires, that tornado watch. But no tornado warnings, Jenna, just those 2 severe thunderstorm warnings up there towards Van Buren County.
Yeah, and that's what we like to see, of course. We're staying on the air to monitor this severe warning. Once this moves to a place where it's weaker and we feel more confident about it, we will move back to KRK, Fox 16 Plus, KRK.com, and Fox16.com, as well as all of our apps. That's KRK4 News, as well as Fox 16 News, and the Arkansas Storm Team app, where we are live. And we've been live there since about 2 a.m. tracking all of this for you, and we were live off and on last night, Friday night. I feel like this past overnight into this morning feels all like the same time period, so it's a little hard to communicate. Last night, this morning, it's all pretty much the same, but we're continuing to watch this severe thunderstorm warning in Van Buren County. It's going to move towards Cleburne County here very shortly, and just some kinks in here. We're just kind of keeping an eye on things. Nothing is sounding any alarms right now, but we're continuing to keep an eye on it as it pushes to the east northeast towards Cleburne County and Stone County. It'll continue to push to the east northeast, like I said. And with that being said, let's zoom in and see what it looks like on a zoomed in scale. So that area where those gusty winds are, remember 60-mile-an-hour winds possible within this section, within this yellow polygon. This is where all of that is, especially on the leading edge. This is one of those things where you might feel the wind before you even start to feel rain as that line progresses towards you. It looks like that main part has already moved towards Clinton, but still in the hair of everything. It's still really messy back there, so small hail still possible, very heavy rain, still gusty winds going on in Clinton, but that leading edge now past Clinton, now past State Highway 65, and pushing off towards the east, moving towards Heber Springs. So in the line of this storm, again, it's a severe warned storm for small hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts moving to the northeast. And Christopher, you've got a track up on this.
Yes, exactly. And just want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in with us this morning. We were tracking some tornado warnings, and we're continuing to track these line of storms. There's another look at that timing there. Tune in with us. We're going to continue this coverage on our live streaming apps. You can get that on Roku TV, Fire Stick, also on Apple TV. You can download our KRK4 Fox 16 Plus app, and also download on the Arkansas Storm Team weather blog. Big thanks to everyone watching and staying safe this morning. Stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and toss it back to regular scheduled programming. If anything happens to rotate, or we have any more tornado warnings, we'll be sure to let you know, and we'll go back on the air. Until then, everyone stay safe, tune in. We're going to continue this coverage as we go throughout the rest of this morning.